has long been sold out. Well, before the news, Councillor Basil Cameron, who's the Deputy Mayor of the Byron Shire Council, is also on the Mullen Civic Hall Board of Management, rang in. We didn't have a lot of time with him, so we've now got him back on the phone. Councillor Cameron, good morning again.
Yes, good morning again, Joe.
Can you just restate, why is it that the hall was let to Mr. Wolfe in the first place?
Well, because it's the hall that's operated at arm's length from council for the purposes of, public events, etc. And we have a bookings officer there who took a booking particularly, for an event at full commercial rates.
Should council be further involved in issues such as this, particularly when there's been so much publicity about David Wolfe being in the country and speaking, and certainly there's been a lot of notice about this event? Should the council have paid closer attention to this?
Look, I'm sure some do. It depends whether they're interested in the issue or not. Clearly, it's an issue that's concerning in the community. And I dare say that there'll be more discussions. I'm not sure how much of what I was saying just before the news came across, but I think there's a clear case for us to look at our policies regarding the hall, both as a council and as a hall, and probably do better there in being able to be clear about what our expectations of hirers are and what limitations there may or may not be. But I wouldn't want to preempt that. I think that's a discussion for both the board and for council.
Mm-hmm. Had you been aware of David Wolfe coming to the region and speaking at the hall earlier, would you have objected to him using the hall?
Sorry, I'm just having trouble hearing you there, Joe.
Would you have objected to David Wolfe using the hall to give a public lecture if you'd known that he was coming, given that you are on the board?
Look, personally, I'm on the other side of the argument when it comes to vaccination, but I also have a belief that you don't really get anywhere if you try and curtail freedom of speech. I think you end up in other arguments about that, and that has a negative impact when you're actually trying to get out the good information that you want to get out about public health and vaccination choice.
Can I just clarify what you mean by on the other side of the argument? Which side?
Oh, well, I'm pro-vaccination. That's what I mean.
So you're saying that by, I suppose, not allowing people like David Wolfe to speak, you alienate people, and therefore, perhaps that's not the best way to handle the situation. Have I paraphrased you correctly?
Yeah, look, I think that's a fair call. That is what I'm saying. I think it's counterproductive in these cases to be taking action that silences people. I don't think it goes down well, and the supporters of people like David then stop listening to the other sides of the argument.
Do you think they're listening now?
I really don't know, to be honest, Joe. I really don't know.
All right, Councillor Basil Cameron, thank you.
Thank you very much, Joe. Cheers.
Councillor Basil Cameron from the Byron Shire Council, also on the Mullumbimby Civic Board of Management. Well, Dr Brian Pizzuti is the chairman of the local health district and a local anaesthetist. He's rung in to the program this morning. Good morning.
Oh, good morning, Joe.
What's your view about what Councillor Cameron had to say?
Well, look, I hear the stuff about freedom of speech, but there is no freedom to shout fire in a movie theatre. None at all. And that's about the same thing as Mr. Wolfe talking at Mullumbimby. The biggest fear I have as chairman of the board is an outbreak of communicable diseases in Byron Shire. With the North Coast being the third most visited part of Australia by local and international tourists, the risks to the local community with so many people arriving from overseas, from people who locally there go overseas and come back, and we have had the odd measles case in coming back from Bali in Byron. With the community at Mullum, about 40% of the kids not immunised, this is a huge risk for my LHD and for the people of Byron Shire. So to have somebody like Mr. Wolfe coming and stroking is a huge risk for us.
I believe that his conversation tonight is not so much directly about vaccination, but it's about some of his other beliefs regarding raw food and healthy living, as it were. He has quite a lot of controversial views, of course, including that people who are suffering from cancer should look to natural remedies rather than medicine, among other things. But in terms of trying to engage those people who are interested in what David Wolfe has to say, and to try and get them to be more sceptical, perhaps, about the inverted commas science, as you would call it, pseudoscience, that's often put forward by people like David Wolfe. Do you have any idea about how that can be better done? It seems to be an intractable problem, that there is a small group of people who won't listen to what it is that doctors like you are saying.
Well, yes and no. Look, Mr. Wolfe's been exposed on many occasions by the scientific community for what he is and for what he spruiks. I mean, it beggars belief to me that people would follow the advice of somebody like Mr. Wolfe. But again, we do have freedom of choice in this country, I accept that. But I do think that if he starts talking about immunisation practices, then there is a reason why the Department of Fair Trading has banned the Vaccination Awareness Network and made them come out to be an anti-vaccination network. We have Mr. Wolfe coming, who is prominently on that side, and he gives succour to people like that. And it worries me, because it worries me that if we have an outbreak of measles in Byron Shire, we have to go back to 1997 when the last outbreak, I think, of measles in Queensland happened, and there were about 14 teenagers die during that epidemic. It worries me intensely.
Thank you very much for calling in.
Okay, bye.
Dr. Brian Pizzuti, who is speaking there about his concerns regarding the speech that's being given tonight in Mullumbimby by David Wolfe, a prominent anti-vaccination campaigner. On ABC North Coast, it's 9:17. Joanne Shoebridge with you this morning, and if you're on the roads, be warned that